Morning, Santa Clarita. Happy Friday. How you doing? It's Friday of a long weekend. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am Matt Watson, and happy Friday. Y'all know our show, Eye on the Valley. It is brought to you by SCVi and iLead Schools. We are a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school. We've got just an incredible home study program called iLead Exploration. You're going to hear all about our schools this morning, but we're going to kind of recap what's going on and what happened this year and what's happening with all of our schools. You've got tons of options for free public charter schools out there. I tell you what, while you're listening, why don't you visit us at iLeadschools.org. You can check out each and every one of our schools, whether it's a virtual school, a home study program, a hybrid school, a classroom-based school. We've got everything that you and your kids need, again, at iLeadschools.org. So yeah, we keep our eye on education in and across Santa Clarita and around the nation as well. But like the show says, we like to keep our eye on the Valley, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what here in the Valley. And we do so while trying to put a little smile on your face because, that's what Friday mornings are for, right? We're easing into the weekend. I keep saying Friday morning and I'm looking out the window, just kind of, I guess, checking the weather, right? Mm-hmm. Check the weather and the traffic by looking out the window. But yeah, it's going to be a great weekend, Memorial Day weekend. Happy weekend. We took a little break last week, but we are back. No, we weren't on vacation. Producer Sara and I were supporting a really cool event that SCVi put on last Friday. Something that I can't believe that we haven't really done, at least not this way, in the past. SCVi hosted a new family welcome event on their campus last Friday morning. See, every spring, SCVi holds what's called an enrollment lottery for the following school year. Families who want to enroll their children for the next school year, they fill out an application, and no, there's not an admissions test or anything like that, but it is a lottery process that our families are chosen by. It's state law that all charter schools follow. So if you've got more applications than you have seats available, you have to kind of do a blind lottery poll. But what SCVi did to follow up their lottery this year was really quite unique. So last Friday, the directors of the school, while kids were on campus, while classes were going on, they invited all of the families who'd been offered a spot for next year to come get to know the campus during the school day and get to know the campus, all of our different programs. So there were presentations representing our arts programs, music programs, our theater programs, our sports programs. Yes, while we're a small school, we've got tons of sports options. In fact, I loved hearing about, even the Pee-wee sports, the kindergartners, first graders getting out there on the court, on the pitch, having a lot of fun and looking at all the different trophies. I think the day after that, one of our soccer teams brought home another championship. But I digress. Our high school career-connected learning programs were represented, and our special education department and some of their leadership was there. Again, the leadership team, the school directors, and families came and had some coffee, had some snacks, asked their questions, got better acquainted with the campus. They got to take a tour and even got help filling out their paperwork because even though they've accepted that spot, they filled out their application. Now they have to go through the enrollment process, and it can get complicated, right? Because we need to know everything about your kid as they get enrolled and make sure that they are, they have everything that they need, and so that can be complex. But Colleen, the registrar, was there, and she was helping out families. It was a really fun event that made families feel very welcome. About 50, 60 folks out there. It was really impressive. So, like I said, I've never really seen any school do something quite like it. I know schools oftentimes will have a new family orientation, but this was a little bit different. It really felt like the school was wrapping its arms around the new families. It was cool. So yeah, Sara and I worked that event last Friday. Couldn't be here to do the show, so we did run a rerun instead. But that show was fantastic.
It was.
It was great. In fact, we'll chat about that in just a second. It really did deserve to be replayed. But we are back. Yes, We are back in the studio today, and so let's take a look at what we've got going on Eye in the Valley today. A little bit later, hour number 2, we're going to meet Jess Guidroz, I believe it is. In fact, Sarah, you talked to him. Is it Guidroz? Is that... All right, we're going with Guidroz. He is the founder and chairman of the New Way SCVi, helping homeless students in Santa Clarita. He's got a beautiful story, just really an inspiring man. And he's lived here in Santa Clarita quite a while and been working with youth for quite a while. Well, you'll hear all about Jess's story in hour number 2. They've got a great local event coming up that you can get involved in. I know for darn sure I'm going to be there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting, and I get to feel my fat belly. Anyways, speaking of fat bellies, Big T's going to be here as well. Well, he'll be on the phone. He's going to be swinging by. Mom always makes me bring my brother on because he gets jealous. So he'll be here with trivia and more fun at the end of the show. It's going to be great, but first, joining me in the studio, typically Sarah produces the show remotely, but producer Sara is in the studio this morning. Good morning, Sara. How you doing?
Good morning, Matt. I'm feeling very grateful that you didn't introduce me after the phrase, speaking of big fat bellies.
Oh, never.
I got a little nervous there.
No. That was Big T. So, Sara, ordinarily, I point this out. At this point of the show, what we do is we invite a guest from our schools. We'll bring in one of our facilitators. That's what we call our teachers. We bring in one of our teachers or a school leader or somebody from one of our programs or some of our learners or what have you. But the learners, our staff, our leaders, they all have a well-deserved day off today. They wrapped up state testing, I think, this week, and so everybody's exhausted. And so they took that 3-day weekend and put it in the blender and came out with a 4-day weekend. And I think they all really need the rest. Mm-hmm. State testing it's important, but it can be rough. It can be stressful. It's long and complex. So they're taking the day off today. Nobody could join us here on the show. So I figured, Sarah, what we'd do is we'd take this opportunity. We're at the end of the school year. We're well into graduation season. Graduation's happening across the city. Our school's graduations are coming up. Gosh, is it 1 more week? 2 more weeks? Coming up soon. So I figured we'd take the opportunity to kind of recap the year, take a look back, and we'll kind of do it as a way to kind of preview all of our schools, because as we're coming to the end of the school year, there's a lot of families out there thinking about what next year's going to look like, right? Starting to register for classes, or thinking, am I going to this school? Am I going to that school? So we've got 6 charter schools, and like I said, they are all free public charter schools. We're living in the time of school choice, and so it's important for families to know what their options are. So I figured what we'd do, Sarah, is just kind of take a look at, who's been on, who we've had come visit us at the show at Eye in the Valley, and use that as an opportunity to kind of recap for our families what our different schools are. Because like I said, we've got 6 schools. They're each different. They're each unique. And so it's been a great year. We've met some wonderful people from the community. And like I said, I think we've had guests from most of our schools.
Right.
So we'll take the opportunity to talk about them.
Yeah, it's been a really great year. We've met some wonderful people from the community. And I think we've had guests on from nearly all of our schools.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun to highlight all the amazing things that are happening at all the different campuses. And I think the hardest part for me when scheduling is trying to figure out or narrow down which campus we're going to feature on Friday mornings here on Eye in the Valley on KHTS.
Yeah, and it's always fun for me to see who you've got, because I just, through my daily work, I think... school's happening, things are going on, but then every guest that comes in, I think, oh my gosh, that's incredible. There's amazing stuff going on at each one of our campuses.
And in our Monday through Thursday job, I run into people all the time that we work with that listen to the show, and they're just blown away about what they heard about happening on one of our sister campuses. Yeah.
So I figured it would be fun to kind of take a look back, a way for our listeners to be reminded about all the different options, like I said, that iLead Schools has out there, all with that free public education price tag. So
yeah, that's right. I love how all of our schools pride themselves on providing a boutique or a private school education for that public school price tag.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. So let's start here. Let's start with our founding school. Let's start with how our network started, SCVi. So for those of you, it's funny. I think, everywhere I go, folks ask me about SCVi. So I figure, it's out there in the Santa Clarita ethos, and folks. But every now and then I'll run into somebody that says, "No, what is that? Where is that?" Blows my mind. So SCVi is iLead's founding school. They are technically located in Castaic, but when I say Castaic, people go, "Oh, way up there." No, it's right here in Valencia. It's just off of Newhall Ranch Road. It's kind of at Newhall Ranch Road and the 5.
Correct.
Right
Correct.
there
In fact, the business directly across the street from us, their street address is Valencia. You could stand in our parking lot and spit and hit Santa Clarita.
But why would you do that?
I don't think
Come
you
on
would.
now,
No.
Sarah. You wouldn't do that. Don't spit on
Not
Santa
me.
Clarita. But so yeah, and SCVi actually was Santa Clarita's first classroom-based charter school. We had a couple of charter schools here. They've been around here for quite a while, but this was the first classroom-based, right? And by classroom-based, I mean brick and mortar. Families come in, drop their kids off, and
I've been 16 years, Matt Watson. 16
wow.
years.
Wow,
It's been
it
wonderful.
has been a while, and another beautiful thing that I love about SCVi is I believe, and I keep looking around, and I haven't found any evidence to the contrary. It is the only public comprehensive school in the valley, meaning
Oh, yeah.
TK through 12th grade, and we've got kids that are about to graduate that have been there for TK didn't exist when our seniors
Exactly.
were around, but they've been there all 13 years.
Isn't
And
that
it's fun when I interview kids, and they I'll say, "Okay, so what school did you go to before SCVi?" Well, I went to preschool.
Right,
And it's
right.
like, wow, you've never been to another school besides SCVi, and now you're graduating high school and moving on to college. And I love seeing 15, 16-year-olds picking up their little brothers and sisters at the elementary school, and it's just a neat setup. So we had the school leaders, Chad and Martha. They're actually getting really good at doing the radio. They've come on a couple of times.
Yes.
We had Paloma and Melissa. They came on to talk about the dual language immersion program.
Right. So SCVi has a dual language immersion program, kindergarten through 5th grade. And it's Spanish dual language immersion.
Right.
They did what makes the most sense, of course. They started a new program during a pandemic. So they began the dual language immersion program at SCVi with just the K1 twos, and every year it has grown. And so now this year they have completely filled the goal, which is kindergarten through 5th grade.
Yeah, all the way through our elementary school grades, and I can't wait. It's just going to be a couple more years before we've got kids that have gone through the entire program. I was in one of the dual language immersion classrooms yesterday, and it wasn't, it wasn't a Spanish-speaking teacher who adds a little bit of Spanish vocabulary.
Right.
They were doing everything in Spanish. The kids were saying good morning in Spanish. I mean, I walked in. I was, Sarah, I was leading a tour yesterday, and
You too?
right. And the folks that I was with were really impressed. We walked in, and all these kids, and if I had to guess, 2, maybe 3 of them speak Spanish at home. So this is Spanish as their second language. And as we walked in, they all the kids turned and looked at us and waved and said, "Buenos dias." And they were going through the alphabet. These are kindergartners. They're going through the alphabet, the letter sounds, and they were singing their morning songs all in Spanish. And so they're gonna be fully bilingual and biliterate by the time they finish.
Exactly.
5th
That
grade.
is the goal. There's so many benefits to dual language immersion, and I'm very, very proud that SCVi has launched that. We've had Chris Nielsen on, one of my favorite
Yeah, I
people,
love
especially
Chris.
now that I have another high schooler, right?
Right.
But yeah, she's our college and career counselor. It's really hard to get her on the radio.
Well, she's busy serving our kids. Yeah.
She's so dedicated. I mean, I don't know if you remember this. She had your job before you did, but
Yep.
she quit it. And that was back when we used to only be on 1 hour every other week on Eye on the Valley.
And by my job, you mean she used to host this radio show?
She
Yeah.
used to host the radio show, and she finally looked at me one day and she said, "I know it's only 2 hours out of the month plus the drive time."
Yeah.
And she said, I can't.
Well, it takes time
It's
to
too much
prepare,
for my
yeah.
kids. I wanna be with my learners and be there for them. So
But I think she sent you a list of some of the schools.
She
Because
did.
one of the great things about Chris is, she could actually make a lot of money as a private college counselor.
Oh, totally, totally.
I remember when my my nephew was in high school, my brother actually spent several $1,000s working with a college counselor, and the service, and he was really happy with the service he got. And he would describe what this woman would do, and he was describing exactly what Chris does for each one of our high schoolers, not just our juniors.
Correct.
Each one of our high schoolers throughout their 4-year career. But so Chris couldn't join us this morning, but she sent you a
No.
list of college acceptances. You want to share a little bit? Not all of them.
She did, but she actually gave me her presentation because SCVi does a really special thing for college signing day.
Okay.
And so we had a wonderful celebration of higher education, celebrating our kiddos, the amazing schools that they got into, what futures they're looking forward to. And I love that it's something that the whole school attends because it really reinforces that college going culture.
Yeah.
When you're cheering for your peers. So some of the schools that our kids are off to in the fall, and keep in mind, these are 40. We have a graduating class of 40 this year. We have a 100% graduation rate
Get out.
again
Nice.
this year. And so let me scroll through this. We've got Cal Arts. We've got one going off to Cal Arts. Of course, we have some that are going to your alma mater, CSUN. We have Ed Heck Business School. I had to Google that one, Matt.
Okay.
You know where it is?
I have no clue.
It's in France. We
Well,
got
of
kids
course
going
it
off
is.
to Europe for business school. We've got
Je vous en prie.
yeah, right. And we've got Loyola Marymount, Midland University, New York Film Academy, Penn State, Rose Holman Institute of Technology, San Diego State, Shenandoah University, and then I know you won't be as thrilled about this, but it's still very impressive. We have
I know where you're going.
Ray, you know where I'm going with this. We have
do.
count them, 3 learners that are off to USC in the fall.
Nice.
Out of our 40 kids.
Nice.
And when I looked it up this year, I think USC had less than a 9% acceptance rate.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
It's crazy high. And I'm just so proud out of such a small group of learners, we've got 3 headed off. But that's Chris. That's our kids. They are so well-rounded. By the time they get to high school, if they've been with us
Yeah.
all the way from kindergarten, they just really present well, and they're ready to take their learning even further in college.
Yeah. Yeah. And then recently, I kind of did a double take when I saw that you had booked one of our 8th grade facilitators like twice in a row.
Okay, there was like a break in between, one show in between or something.
Exactly.
But yeah.
There was a show in between. I think we featured iLead Agua Dulce, but Ali Benedetti came in with her high school counterpart, Kevin Becker, and they came in and they talked about the SCVi Theater, all the great things going on. I know the high schoolers just put on Grease.
Correct. That was last weekend. This
success.
weekend, the 4th through 8 players are putting on Treasure Island, which is another musical. So a lot of musicals happen in
Those
the
are our
spring.
elementary and middle school actors.
Yep.
And then Allie was back a couple weeks later to talk about the Glider Project. This is where the 8th graders learn all about the history and science of flight and aerodynamics, all the principles of flight, all state standards. But then they really learn it when they get into this airplane that has no engine, and that's where a lot of the parents say, yeah, no thanks. But they get towed a mile high and boop, let go. And they pilot a glider. And that's actually led to about a dozen or so of our kids getting their pilot's license over the years. And so Allie was talking about that project. Really, really exciting. And Sarah, that's just talking about our founding school. We've got 5 other schools that I want to touch on for our families. I want to remind folks, while you're listening, you can get more information on SCVi and all of our iLead schools at iLeadschools.org. That's iLeadschools.org. But like I said, it's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just our founding school. And we're going to touch on the other 5 because families do have options here in Santa Clarita and across Southern California at our iLead programs. But let's take a quick break, and we will get to those other schools when we get back. I'm Matt Watson with producer Sara McDaniels, and this is SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. You're listening to your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Watson, and I'm in studio this morning with producer Sara McDaniels, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. Sarah, before the break, we were talking about SCVi and some of the highlights of this school year, right? We're looking back on some of the guests that we've had on the show, and you and I kind of ran away with talking about everything that SCVi has to offer. But that's just one of we've got 6 schools, but we've got 9 different programs.
Correct.
I think the more we dig into personalized education, the more we realize, there are this good group of kids that has a different need, so we need to meet that need, and that's where kind of each of our schools is born. Some of those needs are geographic, and some of them are a little bit closer to the heart. For example, our next school, kind of as we head north on the 14 freeway, is iLead Agua Dulce, and that's a campus that was built by the school district, Acton Agua Dulce School District, in the 50s, but the school district couldn't support that campus anymore.
Nope.
But it was the community, actually, that reached out to us and said, no, we don't want to bus our kids out of our community. We want our kids to stay here in our community. And, as we opened up that campus in 2018, there were a lot more families that aren't from Agua Dulce or even Acton. There are families in the San Fernando Valley, the Antelope Valley, the Santa Clarita Valley that bring their kids into Agua Dulce just because of the charming campus and the amazing academics going on there. It's funny. I mentioned I gave a tour yesterday, and my guests were saying, "Oh, this is such a cute. This is like a rural agrarian campus. I've got 30 farm animals on campus. They have the farm to table program.
They do.
They have a gardening class, and so yeah, it does feel like I remember growing up Town and Country Farm School. But then we step into the exploratorium, and they're like, "Wait a minute." This isn't a farm school. This is a STEM campus, and then we
Go to the
see,
music lab.
We go
It's
right.
an
We go
arts
to the music. It's
campus.
an arts campus, right? We got kids, forming bands, and we've got a professional musician teaching music, and then we've got the makery where kids are using a drill press and a lathe and all this stuff, and then you go into the regular classrooms where these amazing projects going on, right?
And don't forget the outdoor classroom.
That's right. Oh, the outdoor classroom. Yeah. I did forget the outdoor classroom because the kindergartners and first graders were on a field trip yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. I was told they went to the zoo. Couldn't figure out why.
Right. They have all the animals there. What would they need that for?
Right. But here on the show, we talked to Lisa, the school director, as well as one of her lead facilitators, Elsa Williamson, because next year they're going to be starting the International Baccalaureate program. It's a career program. For those of you that don't know about IB, the International Baccalaureate, we compare it to the AP because it is a more rigorous course of study. Kids get that extra grade point.
Correct.
But it is totally different. It's kind of that global mindset style education where kids go ahead.
And the assessment work, the work that they do is kind of like our project-based learning in that it's real world valid learning and understanding. It's not studying all year really hard to get a really high score on a test at the end of the year and then forgetting it all. Got my test score, I'm done. It's real world application work and portfolio work, and a lot of it can be guided by the learner's own focus and what they're interested in learning and going deeper with. And so those are some of the big differences between AP and IB or International Baccalaureate that I love that we offer.
iLead Agua Dulce got certified in the career program. So kind of the real motor behind this program is preparing kids for the global economy, preparing kids for careers in a globalized economy, and especially preparing them for careers that don't exist yet, right? And so how do you prepare someone for a career that doesn't exist? Well, you prepare them to be nimble, to be thoughtful, to be problem solvers, to be creative, to be resilient, and then also to understand multiple perspectives and to collaborate, to bring in diverse thought, things like that. It's really beautiful. I'm very, very excited about it. We also had Stephanie Byrne. That was a show we reran last week, and if you didn't hear Stephanie, wow, she was a great radio guest.
She was.
She was fantastic.
I always know. Sometimes when we encourage somebody to be on the radio for the first time, they're very nervous about it. They don't think that they're going to be really good at it. I don't do performing. I said, what are you talking about? You're in front of a classroom all day. You perform all day. But sometimes they're the best guests, the people who are A little shy, maybe.
Yeah, sure. And no, you're not performing. Just sit down, let's chat.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephanie was here to chat about, well, she had recently gone with, I believe it was our 8th graders to Washington, D.C., had an amazing trip. And then, so they just recently came back from D.C. The school year's wrapping up. She is our high school facilitator, and so she's looking forward to settling down and resting all summer.
Ha 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 ha.
No, she's not. She's taking a bunch of kids to Costa Rica.
She is.
So she's taking some of our high schoolers down to Costa Rica. They're going to work on the different...
It's an ecology-based trip.
Right,
Yes,
so they're looking at the different
climates.
biomes and climates there. In Costa Rica, teeny tiny country with a lot of different habitats and climates.
They're going to do some volunteer work while they're down there as
Right.
well. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great, going to be beautiful. It's going to be exhausting. So I can't lie, I'm a little worried about Stephanie.
No
She
summer
gonna
off
need-
for her. No summer off
she's
for
gonna-
Gladys.
Right.
They're there.
Absolutely, and that's all at iLead Agua Dulce, just up the road here. And again, I know I've talked to families that said, "Ooh, Agua Dulce," but I live in Santa Clarita. Well, remember, especially if you're on the east side of town, it's a hop, skip, and a jump away. I know it's 15 minutes from my house, and I live in. my friend calls it deep Saugus. I live in the heart of Saugus, and iLead Agua Dulce is just 15, 20 minutes away. And if you're here in Newhall or even Canyon Country, gosh, it is
up the 14,
almost the local
couple
school.
exits.
Yeah, yeah. But continuing further north, a little bit further of a drive for me that I live in Saugus. But I one of the things I love about KHTS is when I go visit our campuses in Lancaster. KHTS comes through loud and clear throughout the
Yes, it
Antelope
does.
Valley, and so we have our third classroom-based campus, iLead Lancaster, a beautiful, beautiful campus. They're located kind of right there in the center of Lancaster.
And it's so hard to. The best description I can think of, if you were to walk into iLead Lancaster's campus, it would be like walking into the California Science Center for the first time, but a little bit smaller. It's just
interesting.
this big, beautiful open space.
Yeah.
They have their makery space, their exploratorium, their tech labs. There's so much activity and hands-on learning happening at that campus that you just kind of go down this street that kind of seems like you're in an industrial center,
Yeah.
and when you open the doors, it blows you away.
Yeah, and I was there yesterday as well, and the school director Deborah and I were kind of staring out the glass door there. We were looking across the street. Deborah's got her eye on the vacant lot across the street. There's a big open vacant lot, and she really needs that space because she's got a wait list that is just a mile long.
Yep.
People banging down the doors to try to get into iLead Lancaster, and so she actually would like to open a second building just to accommodate all the folks that are trying to get in.
That'd be great.
So, we've got 3 different campuses, 4 different programs in Lancaster.
We do.
iLead Lancaster is just one of them. Staying in the Lancaster area, we come to our smallest but definitely our cutest school. And I know some of our other schools
One of my
take
favorites
offense
to
when I say
visit.
that, but yeah, no, Empower Generations. We've got an enrollment of about 80 kids right now, and they specialize in at Promise youth. The school was started as a center for pregnant and parenting teens, but there were a lot of other kids that flocked to the school, whether it was because they needed a smaller school campus, maybe something that felt a little bit more homey, a little bit more safe. There are kids there working on credit recovery. There are kids there working on early graduation as well. But again, kind of an open floor plan.
All of our campuses are personalized, but I think that there's something really special about the way Empower Generations does that. And the size of it might have something to do with it.
Sure.
But they're there for the whole family, quite literally the whole family, because we do have a focus with pregnant and parenting teens. I'm lucky. I got my TB test. I'm a staff member, so sometimes when I'm touring that campus, I'm handed a baby.
Right. Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I walked in,
It's wonderful.
Sajay Davison, the director at Empower Generations, she actually was on the show a little bit earlier this year. She was, I think, probably the one that was most nervous, but she did great. She
course she
highlighted
did.
her program. We walked in, and she was holding a baby when we got there.
That's right, because you're encouraged, and there is space there. There is childcare there. There is a playroom. You are encouraged to bring your babies and toddlers to school with you. Don't let that get in the way of your education goals.
Yeah, that was, the school was founded because one of our leaders realized that, oftentimes when a young lady gets pregnant, or when a young man is having a baby as well, the
There
school
are
system
dads.
can kind of toss them aside,
Yeah.
and that's not okay. So yes, you had a baby, and so that may have changed your plans, but it certainly doesn't have to derail them. And so they're helping kids get into the college and career of their choices at Empower Generations. Love it. They recently had their pre-prom, and we're running a bit behind on
I
schedule,
know,
but I
I
want
know.
to talk about this. It was beautiful. 4 different spaces in the same shopping center there at Empower Generations came together to throw a pre-prom. Were a lot of kids that didn't have prom dresses and tuxedos, and couldn't afford to rent them, and so
Shoes
yeah.
and accessories, all and
Jewelry.
hair and makeup, because they
Yeah.
have a career pathway in cosmetology. So they
Yep.
had their cosmetology facilitator there,
Yeah.
helping prepare for that.
So Antelope Valley Public Health brought all the clothing and accessories and things for kids to borrow for prom. And then, some of the other spots in the shopping center said, well, we want in too. Madrano's brought lunch. Madrano's Mexican restaurant, they brought enchiladas, rice, beans, chips, salsa. The Whole Food store, the
Whole
Whole
Wheatery.
Wheatery,
Yeah.
they brought sodas and cookies, and so kids had lunch. They shopped, and then the following week they spent one night in Paris. Was the theme of their
Love it.
prom. Staying in Lancaster, we have iLead Antelope Valley. Now, this is an independent study program, but it's got a campus where kids are welcome all the time. And so we do have a lot of families that drop their kids off on a regular basis at iLead AV, but it is an independent study campus right there just west of Division, just west of the 14 freeway. It's actually in an old Pinecrest campus, so it's a beautiful campus. They've got a couple of swimming
I was
pools.
gonna say they got a
Yeah.
pool.
On
It's
campus.
a
It's
K
so
through 8
cool.
school that has a pool.
Yes, and they do have swimming classes, and so lots of fun. I also don't want to forget about they've got a kind of an extension to that program, like actually most of our campuses do. It's our families call it homeschool. It's not homeschool. It is a what we call study from home, a home study program, iLead AV Exploration. Actually, we had a couple of their leaders on, Terry Budke, Tina Toval, and this program is kind of for those families that are new to a home study program. I know my kid needs this. I know my kid would thrive, or I want to keep my kid home, but I really don't know how to do it.
Right.
So Tina and Terry step in and they say, we got you. We've got a curriculum. Here's your home study curriculum. Here's a computer. And then we've got this beautiful campus adjacent to iLead AV. Bring your kids twice a week, or not. You don't have
Yeah.
to. But most of the kids do attend, and they come and do workshops. They get help with their work. They get some lessons, and then they also get that social interaction that folks worry about when they pull their kids for a home study program. So yeah, it's kind of that hybrid, right, where kids are on campus twice a week. They're doing their home study curriculum, and then they're out at the beach or at the park or at the museum doing all these different other fun, exciting socialization activities. They get their name, Exploration, from our largest program.
Right.
Far and away our largest program called iLead Exploration. And iLead Exploration we've got over 3,000 learners. It's hard to believe. It is massive, but it's funny as you talk to the staff, you realize how small of a school it is, and you say, okay, a home study program, 3,000 kids. How do you mean home? I don't know how they do it, Sarah, but they know all their kids. They know what's going on, and I talk to their director Julia all the time, and Jenny, and they tell me, oh yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that.
They're some of the most organized people I've ever met. So
Yeah.
they have their area pods together. And so when you are with iLead Exploration, don't let the fact that there are 3,000 learners enrolled in iLead Exploration make you afraid that you won't get that personalized service, because you're going to have assigned to you and your family an educational facilitator who's going to guide you, be there for you the whole way, as much support as you want or as little support as you want. Some parents come in and they're like, no, I got this. I know how to homeschool. I don't
Sure.
need your help. I'll just check in with you every once in a while. And then some parents are just calling their EF going, okay, how do I teach long division?
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of folks who are familiar with homeschool or independent study, They will tell us all the time, yeah, that might be a good thing for me, except I know that as a home study program, you could never do this or that. Like, for example, the first question I always get, yeah, but you guys don't have high school, do you? Oh, we've got an
Oh,
amazingly rigorous high school. I've got a list longer than your arm of college acceptances here that our college counselor, Laura Kazan, has gotten our kids into. Okay, but I really like SCVi's project-based learning. Well, Andy Palmatier came in and talked all about how they're doing project-based learning. Yes, in a home study option. Okay, but are the kids really being prepared for the real world? Well, we met seventh grader Zoya Kalinsky.
I
Not pejorative. This little girl. She was this teeny tiny thing. Yeah, she went and addressed the United Nations twice.
yes.
Advocating for women and girls around the world. Just an amazing program. And Sarah, we've got to take another break, but I'm trying to scroll through the list of colleges and universities. You know what? If you're on our Facebook Live feed, throw in a university on the feed there.
It's
I
probably
guarantee
there.
you we've got kids that are going there next year. So that's iLead Exploration. So again, for more information on any of these schools, and we're not done, Sarah.
No.
We're still missing one school. But we've got home study, independent study, hybrid, classroom-based. For more information, visit us at iLeadschools.org. Take a tour, enroll in any one of our programs. Again, that's iLeadschools.org. We're not done. We're going to keep talking about it when we get back. We're going to talk about our fastest growing school, as well as some of the amazing programs and services that iLead California provides for their students. I am Matt Watson with producer Sara McDaniels. You're listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye in the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson with producer Sara McDaniels in the studio this morning. You are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. We've been talking this morning, been just kind of doing a recap of this school year as we're drawing to an end of the school year, kind of reflecting back on all the different guests that we've had from our schools. iLead started with the creation of SCVi here in the Santa Clarita Valley, but grew into 6 different schools, 9 different programs, trying to make sure that the educational needs are met for every kid here in Southern California. By our kids, our families saying, I need something a little bit different, and public education sort of demands that we step up and meet that need, and
Absolutely.
that's how each of our schools has been created. We talked earlier about our founding school, SCVi, a classroom-based school here in Santa Clarita. A couple of other classroom-based schools, iLead Agua Dulce, iLead Lancaster. And then we talked about a couple of our sort of hybrid learning campuses in Empowered Generations, which is our Center for Pregnant and Parenting and Other at Promise Youth, iLead AV and iLead AV Exploration. We talked about iLead Exploration, which is our home study program. Huge, in fact, I always call it our burgeoning homeschool, just because I like the word burgeoning, because it really is.
It's fun.
The only thing that inhibits it from growing more, growing faster, is the fact that our leadership team intentionally grows slowly, because they want each one of their educators to really know the program and be excellent at it, because they could bring in 20 brand new teachers next year and fill their rosters, but they want to make sure that they do it slowly so that they can mentor each one of their newer educators, but they continue to grow. But I want to talk about
quality over quantity.
There you go. I do want to talk about our fastest growing school, which just really exploded this year, Sarah. It's funny. You and I check the numbers every Monday, and it seems like there's 5 or 6 new kids, 5 or 6 new families every single week, and that's iLead Online. It's funny. Distance learning was not online learning. I have to tell families about that. Oh, you guys operate an online school? I could never. That almost killed my kids during the pandemic. No, that's not online learning. That was distance learning.
Right.
But there were some families that their kids really took to it. Other families that say, you know what, campus-based is not for us. We do want to do something a little bit more online. I actually spoke to
Some flexibility with their time, too.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of athletes, working actors. Those students need the ability to work or do the other activities that are very important to them.
Yeah. In fact, we have an active equestrian group, and people that compete in equestrian events, they travel a lot.
Yep.
And so oftentimes those events take place in the evening, great for school, but I got to be in New Mexico for a month, right? And that's hard to do in the middle of the school year. And so iLead Online is the perfect flexible option for them. I was talking to a mom the other day, and she says, I'm done with campus-based learning, but I'm terrified of homeschooling. I can't, I don't know if I can do it, but talk to me about your homeschool program. So I did, and then I said, but if you're terrified of it, have you considered iLead Online? And she was very intrigued. She says, tell me more. And so they've got AP courses. We've talked about career pathways, career-connected learning. They've got, I think, 20 different career
amazing.
options where kids graduate high school with certificates. And this is TK through 12. And no, kids are not stuck on the computer all day long.
Absolutely not.
They're off the computer. They're out working, developing their projects. Yes, project-based learning. Some of the best project-based learning in our network takes place online, on iLead Online. And as a matter of fact, a good friend of mine actually just registered her kids for Track C. They attend one of the local high schools, and they're looking to get ahead, looking to get a couple of classes out of the way during the summer. And so they're going to enroll in Track C. And again, all free, right?
Correct.
Free public charter school. And so you can attend.
Customized options for your child
Absolutely.
at no cost.
Absolutely. And so, yeah, we've got all different kinds of schools. Classroom-based in Santa Clarita, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. Independent study, hybrid campuses in Lancaster. But independent study, we can serve anywhere, pretty much anywhere in the Southland. So we do have families in Orange County, San Bernardino, Kern. So once again, for more information on any of our schools or all of our schools, you can visit us at iLeadSchools.org. That is iLeadSchools.org. And remember, every one of these 9 programs, every one of these options is free. We are free public charter schools. So check us out at iLeadOnline.org. We do have to take another quick break. I am Matt Watson with producer Sara McDaniels. You're listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, your host, and you are listening to SCVi and iLead Schools Eye on the Valley. My next guest this morning is Jess Guidroz. He's the founder and chairman of the New Way SCV. What is that? Well, you're about to find out. They are helping homeless students in Santa Clarita. He is a graduate of San Francisco State University. Jess became an English teacher right here in the Santa Clarita Valley, also teaching social emotional learning and teen leadership at a local junior high school. Eager to do even more for teens in need, he founded the New Way SCV in 2019, where he and his team help families experiencing homelessness find hope, help, and homes. Jess, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you so much for having me, Matt. Appreciate it. Stoked to be here, man.
I'm excited to have you.
Yeah.
You know, our listeners couldn't hear, but during the commercial, you and I were just geeking out on teaching and helping teens and just making that connection with a young person is, it's funny. As teachers, we don't get paid much, but there's no reward like that connection and having an impact on a young person's life.
Totally agreed. And I had a feeling me and you could have gone for hours if we just kept
going.
Oh yeah,
we probably would have.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jen interrupted us. Hey guys, come on, we gotta get back on here.
Time out.
So Jess, let's give our listeners a little bit of a background. You were an educator, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your teaching career?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm born and raised out here in Santa Clarita.
Right.
Grew up in the Heart District.
Nice.
And it's funny, I was actually not the best student growing up. I wasn't a fan of, my mom was a teacher my whole life. Dad was a minister. Just grew up kind of watching people educate and help. Had it in me, but I just really didn't like school. I didn't relate to a lot of it. I didn't think I would do anything that had anything to do with school for a living. I thought, I don't need this. I'm going to focus on basketball. And my senior year, I had a teacher who kind of changed my life, Mr. Ward over at Canyon. Shout out to Christopher Ward. But essentially, he taught an SEL type class, and it was just all about your personality, how to cope with stress and depression, all the things that a teenager kind of really deals with. And I was like, well, this matters. this actually, I could use this. So it was my first A+ I had. And then he kind of motivated me to go to college and went out to San Francisco State, got straight A's, realized I was like, you know what? I'm going to teach. I want to have that impact.
Yeah.
So I got back, started subbing in the district, halfway through my first year of subbing, got pulled on as a long-term. And then I just spent 10 years over at La Mesa teaching English. And I think the principal, Michelle Cronz, she's just amazing, but she kind of saw that my skill set was probably not teaching English, but it was more connecting with kids.
All right.
And so the Saga shooting happened, and there was a huge need for social emotional learning. Right. And there was no curriculum for it, but she's like, Jess, can you spearhead this? There's some other teachers doing similar things. Maybe you can connect. And started teaching that, and it was exactly what me and you were talking about, just the impact, the buy-in from junior high students, which you don't get a lot of.
Right.
Like you just don't get that. But the second you start talking about bullying or stress, this and that, you get buy-in, and it just made my teaching career just so much more fulfilling.
Wow. That is amazing. It's interesting. I had a similar but different experience. I was, for the most part, going through school, a pretty good student. I was on my way to medical school. But then, senior year, and for me, it was at Saugus High.
Nice.
It was Fred Aldrich, and he was lecturing about the communist revolution in China, and he's talking about Mao Zedong and coming in and taking, and this guy is sweating bullets as he wasn't teaching, he wasn't lecturing, he was preaching the communist revolution, not advocating, but
No.
he just just with such power and passion. And I remember at the end of the class, I just was like, yes, I want to do that.
Yeah. I just got chills right now. That's powerful.
Dad, I'm going to get my teaching credential, not my doctorate. And he kind of went, oh, all right. It's just been the most exciting 30 years of my life ever since.
Oh, absolutely.
But I remember, and maybe you had a similar experience. I still see it today. Growing up here in Santa Clarita, we're a big city but a small town, and you ask your friends or you ask kids, that are getting ready for graduation, kids that are graduating this week, what are you doing after graduation? Well, I don't know, but I'm getting out of this town, right? But so many folks do leave and then come back, right? So it sounds like you left for college, but then came back. What do you love about life here in Santa Clarita?
So, I mean, there's so many things I love about it. I think that, now that I have 2 kids, raising a family here is just incredible. I think just the schools out here,
it's typically what brings them back.
It really is. No, and it was, like for us, I was dating my wife who's actually went to Canyon with me. But, she stayed out here. And so I came back down and we were just like, well, let's start a family. And, do we want to move elsewhere? And it's like, no. Let's stay where we have, our families out here, sure. And a lot of our connections are here. So we stayed, but honestly, I just love the city for the fact that everybody, I feel like, supports each other. I always felt supported. I have, the roots that you have when you're raised in a city like this, you just can't get them elsewhere. Yeah. It's your hometown. And so just knowing that having that local family and just being around this vibe of Santa Clarita, we just love it.
Yeah. So in teaching and teaching social emotional learning and leadership, you found your passion, you found purpose, but then you moved on.
Yeah.
You found kind of a deeper level, and you founded the New Way.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us about what the New Way is, and what you branched out in doing for your students?
Absolutely. So, we, after COVID, we got, when the schools came back in, there was a huge shift in the way that students were carrying themselves. There's a huge shift in just the homeless population. I don't know if you've seen this statistic, but in 2019, we had 300 and some odd students that were labeled homeless in the Hart School District.
Wow.
In 2022, there was over 900. So we 3x.
Wait, back up. How many years are we talking about?
So in 2019, 300, I think 30.
Okay, which is a lot for a community that's, as let's face it, affluent as Santa Clarita.
Absolutely.
300 in 2019.
2022, just 3 years later.
3 years later.
940, 930, right around that. Over tripled.
That's ridiculous.
And La Mesa was the lowest socioeconomic school in the entire district of all the junior highs and high schools, the school I taught at. So when I say that I noticed it, it was just so blatant. It was in your face. You just see, and a lot of people will ask, well, what did you notice? Well, it's students wearing the same clothes every day. You start, maybe even like sometimes you're smelling them. In my case, I actually overheard one of my favorite students, Miguel, He was devouring his lunch in my class. I would let my students eat. And he's just eating, and a kid made fun of him, like, dude, slow down, like, you're blah, blah. And he's like, shut up, man, I haven't eaten in 2 days. And I overheard it, and I could tell that he wasn't saying it in a way that was like exaggeration or just as a joke. So I called him over after school, and hey, Miguel, man, what's going on? Like, he's like, oh, I've been living in my car with my mom and my brother and my sister. And I was like, okay. So, I gave him some food, and he left, and I called the social worker. I said, hey, do you know about him? Like, but she goes, Jess, there's 71 other kids that are homeless at this school that are just like him.
On one junior high school
one
campus,
junior high school,
over
72.
70 homeless
72.
students. Wow.
So I go, obviously, as most teachers would do, like, okay, well, what resources do we have? What can we give him? She says, well, he gets free or reduced lunch. He gets a laptop, backpacks, folders. I'm like, okay, but like, is there like, can we
what about Saturday and Sunday? Yeah.
Where he's living in a car?
Yeah.
Does a different district have anything? She said, it doesn't. We don't. And so I started the nonprofit the next day.
The next day?
The next day. I just got on Google, how do you start a nonprofit? And I just followed the directions.
God bless you. Wow.
Yeah.
That heart, that passion and drive is amazing. Truly selfless. So talk about it. What kind of services does the New Way provide? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so there's 3 branches to it. There's 3 things that we focus on. Number 1, the big one is permanent housing, if we can help with that. Usually gets credit repair first, because usually these families have multiple, they've been kicked out, they've been evicted. So it's kind of fixing that first, because then the big issue is that once you're evicted, it's so hard to get into another apartment.
Next to impossible.
Almost impossible. So helping with that process is really challenging. So so to answer your question, though, is permanent housing. Usually that just involves the security deposit and paying for the first and last month's rent.
All right.
That's usually the first thing.
Okay.
The second is temporary housing. So in this case with Miguel, we paid for him and his family to stay in a hotel for 28 days. So that's a big thing to get them situated, to help them, get out of the car or off the streets into a hotel. And the third, which is our big focus this year, is our pantry project. And that's just stocking the school's pantries full of, food, clothes, and toiletries, the things that most of these kids don't have, so that the entire family can come in, get a little shopping bag, and just take whatever they need for free.
You said the school's pantries.
Yeah,
you're getting these items that are needed, and let's face it, there are other organizations in the community that are doing this. Of
course.
You're doing this on the school campus where they're coming every day.
On the school campus, and it's
Fantastic.
in our nonprofit is exclusive right now to the Heart District. So it's within the district. I grew up in and taught at, but our schools, so you have Plaza Rita, Hart, Sierra Vista, Canyon, Golden Valley, and La Mesa. Those are the most highly impacted schools in our district. So they all have pantries now.
Okay.
So now somebody needs to flood them. Someone needs to stock them full of the things, so that now you can, have families coming in and getting the essentials that they need.
Okay, Jess, I'm looking at your website right now. And I'm looking at the tab, How We Make a Difference. So you're helping families get back into an apartment. You're helping families get temporary housing, kind of as that bridge before they get there.
Yep.
And then you're helping kids and families get food, clothing, basic supplies, right there where, like I said, where they're going every day at school.
Yeah.
But you're doing a lot more than that. Mentorship and support. Can you talk to me about what your mentors are doing?
Yeah, so we just have, especially with our counseling staff in the schools, once a kid gets identified, they don't just work with a social worker, but the counseling staff in the school that we're connected with really dives in deep with these kids. They kind of divvy up depending on how many there are, and this counseling staff is their mentorship really. I've personally mentored a few kids that some ex-students especially, but really it's the in-school mentorship that they get from these counselors, which again the Heart District has done an incredible job at. Once they identified the need, they hired, the big push that they had, it was in 2022 I believe, was getting a social worker in every single school. And that mentorship, that one-on-one support, because it used to be the counselors were managing the entire student body.
Right.
So now you're gonna pile on the homeless issue, and you've got 1,000 kids in the district now. That's a workload that should be exclusive to the social worker.
Sure. Counselors do great work, but social workers have a totally different skill set.
Agreed.
That are able to meet some needs that
100%.
for, let's face it, generations went unmet on our campuses, and that need is right there in our face now. Yeah, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then educational access. You touched on it. You're providing educational resources, tutoring, school supplies, scholarships.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. So, I ask this question a lot, and I always know the answer. Well, at least I think I know the answer.
Uh-oh.
So
I hope I answer right.
This isn't coming out of your pocket. Where's this coming from? Are you state funded? Or?
No. Unfortunately, we're not there yet. We're so new. Yeah. So really, we started in 2022. I heard you mention 2019. That was just like when the issue became. But the nonprofit was in 2022. So right now, all funding is coming from two ways. One is we have been very blessed that the Paseo Club and an organization called Dink for Cause hosted a pickleball tournament.
Nice.
To
we love our pickleball here in Santa Clarita.
Amen. We do, and I love it myself.
Nice.
So we were the beneficiary. So they generated almost $20,000 that we were able to just give exclusively to La Mesa students, help with the housing, different ways. And then we were also the beneficiary of the Bar Association of Attorneys. Nice. They have a charity golf tournament. So they heard about the work we're doing. They called me. Boom. I met with the board. Before you knew it, the big golf tournament, they cut us a $10,000 check. And then so that's one. We've been blessed to be beneficiaries. The other one is our events that we host and private donors. Mm-hmm. Those are kind of I put them in one category because they usually are our sponsors of our Eat Drink Local event that's next weekend. They'll sponsor that event. I have one guy that I work with who has done very well for himself. He goes, Jess, anytime there's a family in need, you give me a call. So I go, hey man, this family, they need $6,000. They need the security deposit first and last. He's like, done. Where do you want me to meet you? Oh. So there are good people out there that are just
I love this community.
But again, I should have mentioned that with the why do I love Santa Clarita? There are people like that out here.
Yes.
And having that connection would never have happened if I wasn't from here, because I've known his son and daughter for 25 years. So the trust is there, the rapport is there. He's seen what we're doing. And there's two other guys that I work with. They're just like him. They've just done well and they just want to give back, but they don't want to, deal with all the organizations. They're just like, no, I'm going to go directly to you and these families. Yeah. So there's so many stories in that, but those are our big ways that we raise funds and that we're able to have the impact.
Yeah. Gosh, that is fantastic. And again, this community really is beautiful.
It is.
I love the giving spirit that we have. Now, so you mentioned this kind of mission, your work started the day after you realized what Miguel was going through and you connected with him. But truly founded in 2022. Correct. So you're still a brand new organization.
We're brand new.
But it's been, year and a half, 2 years. How have you guys grown? What is it? Just you? Do you have a team?
Yeah. So we've definitely grown because once I retired from teaching to do this full time, and my wife is a nurse, she wants to stay home full time. That's why we're looking into iLead and because we're homeschooling right now.
All right.
So I left the career. Actually became a realtor so I could kind of support the family. The nonprofit though, as a realtor, it's like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to dedicate 4 hours a day to my business as a realtor, but then I get to don't dedicate 4 hours a day to the nonprofit.
Right.
And that's just hosting events, networking, raising funds. How can we make this, we formed a solid board of directors. What can we do? How can we make this thing grow? Once we made that connection, it is, now we have a full-time assistant. We have about 6 or 7 volunteer staff who just completely donate their time to help running these events that we do. And our board of directors is super active. We're extremely connected. So it's, you could say it's just me, but no, there's a whole team.
Again, I'm flipping around on your website and I'm looking at your board of directors. You've got a great board.
Yeah.
I went to high school with Steve Tampus.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my gosh,
I did. He and his brother Butch,
Oh, crazy. Yeah. So I'm meeting up with him in a couple hours to actually discuss. We're doing a big 3-on-3 tournament in the fall as a fundraiser. So he's helping us spearhead that.
Very cool. You've got a couple of events coming up.
Yeah.
We do need to take a quick break, but I want to talk about those events because I know, doing good. Our listeners like to do good, but even if they don't like doing good, they're going to want to attend these events.
Absolutely.
We're talking this morning with Jess Guidroz, founder and chairman of The New Way SCVi. When we get back, we'll talk to Jess about this fun event, a couple of events that are coming up that you're going to want to participate in and support his cause. Stay tuned. I'm Matt Watson. You are listening to SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. HTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. Jess Guidroz, founder and chairman of The New Way SCVi, joins me this morning. Jess, we mentioned it going out to break. You have a fantastic event coming up. You're sporting a rockin' T-shirt that's advertising it. It's also a fundraiser. Tell us about Eat, Drink, Local.
Yeah, it's a festival. It's a festival. It's free, but it's a fundraiser. So
How do you raise funds if it's free, dude?
So and I'll tell you right now. So
right.
number one is sponsorships. So we've gotten, again, to answer the question, why do I love Santa Clarita? We have so many local businesses who just want to help. And we have been very blessed with a good amount of sponsorships that have helped us put on this event. Beer and wine, that's a big way.
Yeah.
So if you guys come out to the event, we've got all these local breweries right up and down Old Town Newhall right here. They're all there pouring. So that's one way. And then obviously we have day of donations, but really, guys, it's food trucks, it's live music, it's beer and wine. There's a kids kingdom with face painting and bounce houses and the whole nine. There's a farmers market, swap meet type area. It's just a big party, a big celebration. And it's for a cause. So, the city of Santa Clarita loves its events. They love festivals. They love concerts.
Yeah.
So we figured, okay, well, we've got the live music stage with local bands. We've got all the local brewery. We're just going to create a good time and do it for a cause, and hopefully people show up and celebrate with us.
All right.
Yeah.
So you've got bands, you've got brews, you've got eats. Fantastic. And again, free to attend.
Free to attend.
And then the food and drink is purchased, right?
Purchased, yep.
You guys get a chunk of that?
The drinks, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Very cool.
Yep.
And then, the sponsorships are.
And the
are gonna be
sponsorships.
free. And again, like I said, folks will want to come out just to enjoy a great day with their neighbors, and then you get the satisfaction, right? I love tipping back a beer and thinking of it as philanthropy.
There you go. And it's cool too. Like, Santa Clarita is such a family-centric city that we have a huge focus. I don't think people understand. They never get it until they show up on the day of, that we have like 5 different bounce house obstacle courses. It's face painting, it's balloon sculpting, slime activities, obstacle course, like a whole section just for the kids, so the parents can kind of just let the kids run wild and go have a good time.
Right.
And then, believe it or not, so Paseo Club is one of our big sponsors, and they are building a pickleball court on Central Park's field in the middle of the festival. So people are going to be playing pickleball while the festivities go on. So it's going to be a good time. Saturday, June 1st, 2 to 8.
Okay. So you talked about some of the local breweries.
Yep.
Let's give them their props.
Yep.
Can you mention the breweries that are coming out?
So we've got Pocock will be there. Lucky Luke will be there. Pulcella will be there. We've got 101 Cider's going to be there. Bolivian's going to be there. There's a few others that are somewhat like Palmdale area, like from the valley, that are going to be out there.
You're really drawing a great diverse crowd of breweries and food.
Yeah, and that's the idea. It's just because again, the local is the big, because it's supporting local homeless students, but it's also supporting local business. That's a big deal to us.
That's a good point.
It's just like, if you have a local business, you got to be there. You got to be there to just show off what you got going on. Let the locals know what you're doing, and let us support you.
Love that. So speaking of, and now I'm taking a little risk here. Are there still opportunities for other local businesses to get involved if they're listening and saying, I want to do that. I want to help homeless students right here in my own community. And I want to get a little exposure for my restaurant, my brewery.
Absolutely. So we're open to it. It's a little tough the week of, but if we can always make exceptions if the need is there and the ability. There's some hoops you got to jump through, but hey, if we're all down with it, we can make it happen.
Okay. Sure. So you mentioned at least half a dozen activities for kids.
Yep.
So you're going to want to get the kids out. And what I loved when my kids were little, you get them out to an event like this, and man, do they go to sleep early and hard.
Amen. That's what I'm saying.
Boy.
Yeah. And it's my kids, because we've hosted the event. This is our 5th year. And it's like, every time we host it, it's like all year long, my kids are asking, when do we get to go? When do we get to go? When is it? When is it? When is it? So they're like,
Which is, and then cool, because then you get to feel like the popular dad, right? Because, I'll take the kids to the event they want to go to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? But then
100%.
you're having a blast as well.
Enjoying
the food and drink, and then you said Paseo Club is doing what, like a pop-up pickleball court right there in the
Straight
middle
up.
of Central Park.
And that it's so cool because like I don't know if anyone has ever been to a festival on a park field that has pickleball courts.
Right.
That's like,
Yeah.
We're really excited about that. My brother and I, my whole family, we have a pickleball court at the house. It's like we are like picklers through and through.
Nice.
We're so nerdy, but we love it, and so we're stoked on this.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then are there other activities going on? You mentioned the live music.
Yep, and then there's a farmer's market and like swap meet type area where you just have a lot of like the boutiques like selling like everything from beef jerky to clothing to
Nice.
all the
Okay.
things, right? So it's like it's a shopping experience, it's a foodie experience, it's a beer and wine live music experience. It's kind of the whole, we want to touch on all the senses, make sure everybody has a good time, and there's something to do for everyone.
It is that perfect Santa Clarita experience.
Man, that's what and I think that because I've been to all the events out here in Santa Clarita my whole life, I've kind of like learned to like, okay, people love this.
Yeah,
Ooh, I got to include that. Got to have that. So
Absolutely. And like I said, we love our pickleball. We love getting out with our neighbors and enjoying good food, a good brew or
Absolutely.
glass of wine from Pulcella.
Yep.
And playing around. We love our activities with the kids. We love live music. You're gonna have. Do you know offhand some of the? Is it one band? Several bands that are coming?
So we've got a few. We've got Loaded Clip is a local band that is going to be out there. We've got Silent Tom that is a local band, and then the band We Are Wasted, which is another local band out here. And so those three, they each get like a 90-minute set.
Fantastic.
And it's funny, We Are Wasted, they were our headliners last year, and they bring a huge crowd when they come out, but they're the best guys. You would think it's going to be like this kind of grungy. It's covers, they're funny, they're super interactive with the crowd. They're great. Like so, and their name is kind of unforgettable. So
Yeah,
they'll be
absolutely
out there.
it is.
Yep. Yeah.
That is fantastic. And then again, doing yet another thing that Santa Clarita loves to do is taking care of its own, helping
Amen.
those out that need a little help.
Absolutely.
Helping. And I love the kind of the niche, the homeless students, right?
Students.
You saw that need as a teacher.
Yeah.
And gave up your teaching career and stepped in and said, I got a group of kids that needs more.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to step away from my career that I love and step in and fill that need.
And we also, and you mentioned that there are other local nonprofits that help with the homelessness issue, which is great,
Yeah.
but none of them focus on the students.
Right.
It tends to be, and they do help tons of students, and they're incredible. You got Family Promise Bridge to Home. I mean, they're doing incredible things
They
out
are.
here. It's just that the specific need that I was seeing wasn't met, and in my opinion, God, the universe, whatever, it lays it on your heart that if you see it and you're called to it, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Got to do it.
Absolutely. So tell me what the deal is. Do folks just wander out to Central Park on the day, or do
Yeah.
they need to get tickets? Do they
Nope.
need to RSVP?
No, none of that. Just it's 2 to 8 Saturday, June 1st. You just come and go as you please, and
Okay.
we've got you covered hopefully on anything you need. And if you're even wondering that how can I support, we're gonna have a big booth at the event. We have actually got a family who we help support who's gonna come out, kind of share their story at the event, so people can kind of just unfortunately there's just been a lot of nonprofits, not even locally, more just around the world, that have kind of a bad rap for nonprofits. Like you hear about, you make a donation and $1 goes to the actual cause, the rest goes to the nonprofit.
All right.
So
Yeah.
I think people sometimes are hesitant
Sure.
towards giving.
Sure. It's
so
68% of our income goes to administrative costs. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you hear of that, it makes it. So that's why we thought it would be kind of cool to get some families out there. But it's also a thin line, you don't want to cross any lines because privacy's big. A lot of people they don't want people to know they were homeless.
And that can be that's kind of sticking it out there, right?
Absolutely.
To stand up and say, hey, I was or I am experiencing homelessness, and this is what the new way is doing for us.
It's tough, and sometimes people will ask for testimonials, and it's like, man, it feels odd to give,
Sure.
and then to ask them to give you a testimonial or to take a picture or they don't want that. It's the most shameful period of their life. However, there are some who, for example, the family that's going to be there, the guy was in tears when I gave him the $6,000 check, and he just said, I owe you. I said, you owe me nothing. He said, I wanted, what can I do, man? What can I do? I was like, man, listen, nothing. And I ended up thinking about it. I was like, hey, if you want, come out. Tell people about the support. He's like, I'm there. I'll be there.
Nice.
So
I love that.
yeah.
I love that, and how rewarding for you.
Man.
That must be amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So another thing Santa Clarita loves is we'll give of our money. We will, and it keeps you afloat. But we like to give of our time too. Do you need volunteers?
We do.
Do you need folks helping?
We do. Yeah.
right.
To host a festival, of this size, it's volunteers play a crucial role. We have a volunteer coordinator who volunteers her time. And you can just visit our website, thenewwayscv.org, and just there's a volunteer tab. You can reach out to people. And again, you can find us on Instagram too, and find us, and we'll connect you with our volunteer coordinator if you'd like to volunteer.
All right. So go on out to the Eat Drink Local. I've seen your banners all over town.
Oh, cool.
Doing a great job advertising. But again, June 1st, you said 2 to 8 p.m. at Central Park. Play pickleball, have a beer, glass of wine, something to eat, let the kids play, listen to some fantastic music. It's going to be a great day. Folks can volunteer.
Absolutely.
How else can folks get behind what you guys are doing with the New Way SCV?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we need, especially as a new nonprofit, is donations. I think that's just it's inevitable. So like if you're a business and you want to sponsor the event,
all right,
we'll take sponsorships. And we also have 3 events a year. We run a pickleball tournament, we run Eat Drink Local, and then a 3-on-3 basketball tournament in the fall. So again, if you're curious and you can sponsor, and we're very intentional about giving our sponsors as much press and as much, like we put them on the website, the social media, we make sure we push them out on the radio interviews. We just make sure we try to give as much back to them because again, we want it to be mutually
fantastic.
beneficial. Yeah.
Speaking of which, it's been a minute or two. Tell us about it. The Eat Drink Local is the event. Food, drink, music, games, fun, vendors, but you've got sponsors.
We do.
Give them their props.
We
Who's
do, man.
sponsoring this event?
So,
helping homeless students in Santa Clarita.
Yes, we've got lots, and unfortunately, I know we don't want to just list them all out, but we have our presenting sponsor, which is Sierra Heritage Medical Group, and they are a local medical group out here. We've got the Paseo Club.
Yeah.
They're our community sponsor. Oak Ridge Landscape. They have actually been our sponsor since day one. So 5 years in a row. Jeff Myers over there at Oak Ridge is an incredible man, and he has just believed in our cause, believed in us since day one. We've also got some Statham Academy, who's the biggest basketball kind of franchise out here. They have over 500 local kids that they work with there. They're a big sponsor of ours. Right. We've got KB Painting. We've got just there were so many there. And we've got Skyline Security, and we've got just again, as they come, I'll mention them, but that's just kind of off the top right there. That's some of the bigger ones.
Fantastic. And again, you can check out not only the event, but the great work that they're doing at the New Way SCV at thenewwayscv.org. That's their website.
Yep.
Or you know what? Go out and meet the team. Meet Jess. Gosh, he's been here for 45 minutes in the studio, and just getting to know him has been great. You're going to want to shake Jess's hand. Central Park, June 1st, 2 to 8 p.m.
Yes.
Food, drink, live music, games, fun for the kids, for the whole family. And again, I kind of want to recap the story because it's beautiful, Jess. You're a local guy, born and raised here in Santa Clarita, went to the schools, got inspired by a teacher like a lot of us did, decided to be a teacher yourself.
Yep.
And then you saw something that really changed the direction of your life when you realized that one of your students was experiencing homelessness and wasn't getting his needs met. Yeah. And it's always that somebody should do something, and I'm somebody. God bless you, man. You did it, and left your career to help students in the Heart District, in your community here in Santa Clarita, experiencing homelessness. Again, that stat, it broke my heart that homeless students in the Heart District tripled in 3 years. Tripled in 3 years. The need wasn't being met. So you and your team stepped out and you're doing it.
Yeah. And I just wanted to also throw this in there because I think a lot of people sometimes they think that, that number is exaggerated, or I don't see these kids on the streets. They can't be homeless. And you don't. And also it's important to kind of note here that how do you identify a student as homeless? Mm-hmm. And the way we do it in the district is they don't have a permanent address. So
Okay.
what that means is they usually house hop. It's a week at grandma's, it's a week in the cars, it's a week at a shelter, a week at their friends, then a week back at grandma's.
They call it sofa surfing, right?
Sofa surf, exactly.
Sleeping on their friend's couch, yeah.
Exactly. Or what they'll do, a big thing, which is so sad to see, is there'll be 4 or 5 families in a 2-bedroom apartment on Sierra Highway somewhere, and they're just, kids are all sleeping on the floors. There's no air. There's this. It's just a tough place. And then you expect them to do homework and this, and there's 7 other kids running around plus the parents and the fighting, and there's so many issues there. And so that's actually probably why you don't see as many of them on the streets, is because those are the situations that they're dealing with.
Yeah, it is devastating, but it's so inspiring to know that there are people like you stepping in to help meet the need, and then providing that avenue for the rest of us who, aren't necessarily called like you are to leave our careers and step in and found a nonprofit to help local students experiencing homelessness and their families. But we can just plug into you. We can support the New Way SCV. We can go out to Eat, Drink Local at Central Park. One more time, June 1st, Saturday, 2 to 8 p.m. Jess, you mentioned real quick you've got a brother. Is it just the two of you?
I've got 2 brothers, 2 younger brothers. Yeah.
Okay, they're younger. You're the oldest
I'm the
one.
oldest.
Growing up, did you ever have to share stuff with your brothers?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's the same way. I've got a brother, and mom doesn't let me have nice stuff on my own. And so, believe it or not, Jess, even my radio show, mom makes me share with my stupid brother. So I get
Really?
I get 2 hours, but she says nope. The last 15 minutes is for Big T. So
Big T, I like it.
So yeah, he's on hold right now.
Oh, bring him in.
Because he says it's my time. So I'd love to talk more about the New Way SCV and everything that you're doing with this event on June 1st. Eat, Drink Local. But like I said, mom's gonna yank on my ear if I don't let Big T on.
Well, we gotta let Big T on in.
We'll take a quick break, and so he's got trivia questions. Can you stick around
absolutely.
and maybe try to tolerate my brother a little bit?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Fantastic. Let's do this. Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame are coming up. Again, it is the New Way SCV, thenewayscv.org. Eat, Drink Local is the event. This is SCVi, and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Watson, and this is your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Watson. I'm joined this morning by Jess Guidroz. He is the founder and leader of the New Way SCV. They've got an amazing event coming up next weekend, June 1st at Central Park, 2 to 8 p.m. called Eat, Drink Local. Santa Clarita, what do you love? Yeah, they've got all of it at Central Park on June 1st. But enough about Jess. It is now Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Y'all know Big T. Big T is an executive and a philanthropist. He's an amazing father, husband, and community leader. He's a world traveler. As a matter of fact, he's traveling the world right now as we speak. And this weekend, he's a proud uncle, too. Here he is, everybody. He's mom's favorite. Big T, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Maddie.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing really well. How about yourself?
Doing well. Jess is here with us. He says he's gonna help me tolerate you this morning.
Awesome. You know what's the best part about today, Maddie?
What's that?
Let me get a little sappy. I get to see you in about 9 hours, brother.
I know. I'm looking forward to that, T. You moved away, and I miss me some Big T. Looking forward to seeing you.
Awesome.
All right, Jess. So Tony's got trivia questions,
Okay.
and so it's kind of like Jeopardy, right? You don't just shout out the answer. You got to hit your buzzer.
Okay.
Jess is looking around the studio. Your buzzer is your name. Just call out your name, right? So, and then Tony will recognize you, and so yeah, you shout out Jen, Jess. Tony, is that going to be tough? You got Jen and Jess?
Yeah, it will be.
All right. All right. Well, deal with it.
Should I deal with it?
But
Like always.
and for whatever reason, I go by Frogger. Don't know why. So yeah, you shout out your name. Tony will recognize you, and then you can throw your answer. But the folks at home get a significant advantage. They don't have to shout their name. They can just shout the answer, try and beat us. But Jess is wicked sharp, and you know how smart Jen is. Yeah. I don't think they're going to beat us, man. We are pretty good.
All right.
Big T, what do you got?
Well, first off, Maddie, it's Memorial Day weekend, so like you and I, got a lot of people out there traveling. You know, hotels started to really, pun intended, take a bath years ago as people were stealing towels from the pool, from the rooms. And so about 10 years ago, hotels in Hawaii started putting microchips inside their towels at the hotels. And it would kind of, I don't know if you've ever been to one of those supermarkets that you try to take the card out and the buzzer stops and the cart stops. Same thing with those beach towels.
Get out.
In fact, in 2022, Matt, more than just towels are being stolen. 2022, 49 hotels reported mattresses being stolen. Now, this article that I got this from, Big T doesn't like to stereotype, but this article did. They found that Germans and Brits mainly take towels, bathrobes, and toiletries.
Okay.
Austrians prefer dishes and coffee machines. Americans steal pillowcases and batteries. Italians, they go for the
I like
wine
to put
glasses.
batteries in the pillowcases. It keeps me safe at night. You know what I mean?
Right. Italians would take wine glasses, and the French would target TVs and remote controls. Go figure.
Interesting.
Wow, that's bold to steal the television and the mattress from your hotel room.
Yeah.
How would you even do that?
I'm
How do you get
telling
in the elevator? I don't know.
Your nephew's going to be giving you a pat down when we leave the Airbnb this weekend.
Yeah, I can't sully the good boy's name.
All right, we're going away from the standard trivia, and we're going to do a little bit of what we did last week, that kind of name the artist and things like that.
All right.
We got some cartoon trivia, some Disney trivia. So kicking it off, what are the names of Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl's offspring?
Frogger. Dash and Violet.
Okay, and the baby's name?
Oh, Jack.
There we go.
All right.
Frogger's on the board.
Gosh.
That was the sweet spot when my kids were little.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's Mr. Incredible's superhero best friend?
Jen. Frozone.
Frozone is correct.
That was the greatest superhero of all
Yeah.
time. Just so
He's
much
fun. I
so
like
much
him.
pun, yeah.
Yep. At Disneyland, what flavor is the soft serve Dole Whip?
Jen. Pineapple.
Pineapple's correct. What's the name of the 1997 Disney movie about a golden retriever who plays basketball?
Jess. Air Bud.
Air Bud is correct.
Nice.
And Matt, for the record, I was putting this together. Duke says he can take Air Bud in a one-on-one.
Duke is Tony's favorite son.
Oh, okay.
The golden retriever.
All right, got it.
What's the name of the down on his luck donkey in Winnie the Pooh?
Jen.
Oh,
Jen.
Eeyore.
Eeyore's correct. Mel Brooks was the voice of a black sheep for what Irish animated TV show about a family of pigs, Dan and the Duck and Fernie the Clown?
Frogger.
Are
you asking for the name of the show?
Yes.
Jakers.
Jakers.
Okay, that was a deep cut, Tony. But Jess, your kids are the right age. Hit YouTube, check out Jakers. Hilarious. Yes, Mel Brooks as the sheep, and these little Irish kids. So much fun.
Jakers. Did you know about Jakers?
I've never heard of that. No.
Gotta check it out.
Okay.
Hilarious.
Jakers. Got it. Roger that.
Cool. All right, I'm going to name a fast food item, and you tell me the name of the fast food establishment. We ready?
Yeah.
There may be more than one, but sometimes just one. First one, filet of fish.
Jen. McDonald's.
McDonald's, correct. Beef and cheddar.
Ooh, Frogger.
Sounds
like an Arby's kind of thing.
That is Arby's. Taking you back to the 80s, taco on a bun, chili pups, mustard pups. Frogger.
Another deep cut. These two are too young for Pup and Taco.
Oh, wow.
Taco.
Pup and Taco.
Remember
They
the
sell
little
hot
hand
dogs and tacos.
Wow.
Mojo potatoes.
Frogger.
You're
aging these two out, dude. Shakies.
All right, we'll go back into it. How about crazy bread?
Crazy bread.
I don't know. You got me.
Pizza establishment.
Oh, Frogger. Is that Little Caesars?
Yeah, you really need to eat a little better, Frogger. Just saying.
I do. Jess is here in studio. He's like 4% body fat. He's like, yeah, you're missing me with the fast food.
I'm getting killed right now.
$5 footlongs.
Jen.
Jess.
Go ahead, Jess.
We're going to give it to Jess.
I'll defer to the guest. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, thank you. The Subway.
Subway's correct. All right, going off of that, cereal mascots. I'll name the mascot, or I'll name the cereal. You tell me the mascot.
I'm sure children's cereal is right up your alley, Jess.
We'll see.
Frosted Flakes.
Jen. Tony the Tiger.
Oh, man.
Correct. Fruit Loops.
Frogger. Toucan Sam.
That is correct. Rice Krispies.
Jen.
Jen.
Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
Only
That
one
is
point.
correct.
Only
All
one
right,
point.
we're gonna bounce around for justice sake. Who is referred to as the king of pop?
Jen.
Jen,
Michael Jackson.
correct.
But who is the
referred
king
to
of crackle?
Who is referred to as the Queen of Soul?
Jen.
Oh,
Jen,
Aretha Franklin.
that is correct. Wow. Which rapper had hits with Ladies First, UNITY, and Just Another Day?
Frogger.
Frogger.
That'd be Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah's correct.
Frogger and Big T. We're in our 50s, guys.
Wow. Okay.
What's the official duration of a quarter in NFL football?
Frogger.
Frogger.
15 minutes.
That's correct. What's the official duration of a quarter in NBA basketball?
Frogger.
Frogger.
12 minutes.
12 minutes. How long is the MLB pitch clock?
Frogger.
Frogger.
It's 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right?
Is that a question?
Well, but it's 30 seconds between batters, and like you get 2 minutes when you're changing. Yeah,
okay.
it's,
Yep.
it's weird.
Who was the first American to ride in space?
Jen.
Jen.
Neil Armstrong.
I'm sorry. I botched the question. We'll give you that. Who was the first American woman in space?
Oh, Jen.
Okay.
Oh,
Jen.
wait, I don't know. Sally Ride.
Sally Ride is
Okay.
correct.
I love that you say, we'll give you that when she gave the correct answer to your question.
To your
we'll
wrong
give it
question.
to you. Right? Thanks for
Matt.
throwing her a bone.
That's true. Thank you.
I could have just rolled with it and played it off like I had back to back. Huh?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, you're right.
Big T on the board. How many pounds are in a ton?
Frogger.
Frogger.
2,000.
2000 is correct. All right, we'll go some song lyrics. Dearly beloved, we have gathered here today
Jen.
to get through the Jen.
That's Prince. You're going to ask for the song. Let's Go Crazy.
Do you have it?
Let's Go Crazy.
We'll give it to you.
Is that right?
It was just Prince. I think it's Purple Rain, isn't it?
No, it's Let's Go Crazy.
1999. I don't know. I'm going to keep throwing
That is
songs
Let's
out
Go
there.
Crazy.
Uh-huh. Yeah. We'll give it to you.
All right.
Again, with
All
a
right.
perfectly correct answer. And extra credit, we'll throw you the bone.
Big T does not like being in a car living off paper. He prefers his laptop.
Two more questions, Steve.
All right, name the artist. Walk This Way. Christmas in
Frogger.
Hollis. Go ahead, Frogger.
That last one. I was
Yep.
going Aerosmith, not going to do it. Run DMC.
That is correct.
Nice.
Last one. Name the artist. Piano Man, Uptown Girl.
Jen.
We didn't. Jen.
Oh,
I think you were first,
Jen
Frogger.
pointed at me.
Yeah.
I'm going, Jen, say it with me. 3, 2, 1.
Billy
Elton
Joel.
John. Oh!
Elton John.
Wait, what was the
It was
question?
Elton John.
No, it was Billy Joel.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
What was
Uptown
the
Girl,
Piano
she's right.
Man? And what was
Piano
the other?
Man, Uptown Girl. We didn't start the fire.
All right.
That would be Billy Joel.
So that brings
That is
Jen
correct.
to.
Okay.
So good job. We'll give it to you.
There's a theme going on
Right,
here.
right. So that gives Jen 12, Frogger 13 for the win, and Jess is doing great work serving homeless students here in Santa Cruz Valley. Help them out at the New Way SCV. Big T, we got to roll, but I'll see you in a few hours. I want to thank our guest, Jess Guidroz, founder and chairman of the New Way SCV, producer Sarah, engineer Jen, engineer Andrew. Thank you for listening. Remember, friends, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well and do good. And join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I'm Matt Watson, and this is SCVi and iLead School's Eye on the Valley on your hometown station. Have a great weekend, everybody. It's KHTS.